to Spark Hope Scar Vision Project. Kate Levy here with a really lovely woman who is the mom of one of our first participants for Spark Hope. And it's just such an honor to get to chat with you, to have this moment to catch up, to hear how your daughter's doing, but also how you're doing. We know this is not something that just affects one person, it also affects the people who love them and are trying to support them. This is the first time we've met face to face, so welcome.
Thank you for having me. Very nice to see you and meet you finally. I'm happy to be here.
I'll just dive in and ask you a little bit about your story. If you can share a little bit about how you learned about your child's self-injury and what that time was like for you.
Um, Maya had some anxiety early on in her life, starting probably around grade five, fifth grade in the middle school. That she had some anxieties in school and she had some nightmares and some all kinds of stuff which put you on the radar that something is not right.
Mm,
We talked to her school teachers. We decide that she needs some therapy. We met this wonderful therapist who was also her teacher before that, and she started seeing her. And in one of those therapies, they both invited me to the room, and then that's how I find out that Maya was self-harming. As you can imagine, for a parent, unimaginable pain,
mm,
shock, and disbelief. You don't know what you feel. You feel anger, you feel on yourself, you feel anger on your child that why do they do it? And it was just horrible. And, the first thing you're thinking, what did you do wrong?
yeah.
You don't think about, I'm just being completely honest, how this happened, why she's doing it. You don't see those really questions you should be asking. The first thing is you are angry. How this possible? You have everything. You have both parents. There is no pathology in the house. There is no, drug use, alcohols. Not that this is any necessity to doing it, but that's how you think for first time when you're finding out. That's how I was thinking first time when I found out. But of course, we had to start taking the layers and see what we have to do, what's happening, how to help her, how to help her to understand what's happening, how to stop this. And that was snowballing after that, both directions, the bad direction and the good direction, because we learn a lot about from that moment on, but we also find out stuff that we no parent want to know about their child that they doing. That's
Yeah.
how we found out that day at the therapist office with Maya.
Yep. A hard day and I feel for you and I also recognize in your story my own, and I don't know if you found this, but it's a good question. Do you feel like your child's pain hurt more than your own pain? Watching your kid go through pain, I found it 100 times more painful than my own.
Absolutely. Later on, though, on the beginning, I don't know, there's no manual to how to feel. And if you want to be completely honest, I was lost. I was mad. I was, there's so many different positive and negative feelings that at that time I was so hurt inside that I didn't see that I had to find out different way that I couldn't stop this before it happened. Pain for her, seeing her not be able to deal with this different way, but this way, it just rips you apart.
Mm.
I don't think for next 5 years after this first day we found out with my husband, I think I cried at least 5 nights a week to the point that it hurted physically inside,
Mm.
that I couldn't help her. I didn't know what to do. So we finally, little by little, we start making a progress somewhere. But it took a long time before first progress happened.
How did you make that progress? how did you get out of the way so that you could be a better ally to your kid? You really had to wrestle your own stuff out of the way. How did you do that?
Absolutely. The truth is, Maya's self-harming happened because a lot of what was going on in the house. This
Mm,
is the truth. Even though we always thought we are a perfect family, not perfect, but we didn't have any major issues. It came from the perfectionism that we were expecting from her, even though we didn't think this way. There's a lot of issues inside me from my childhood, from my husband's way of growing up. Not that we had any major issues, but it's just the way, cultural way, I guess, maybe a lot of it, how we grew up and how we were raising them.
mm,
A lot of it was looking for perfectionism in our children and not being able to handling this. But I found this through therapy of my own, because if you want to help your child, you really need to help yourself first to be able to help them. You need to understand where is this whole process coming from, why that child is doing it. Once you find out the sources, you're never going to know 100%. I don't think Maya even really, even though she's very aware of everything, you as a parent, you're not going to be 100% sure this what makes her do it,
mm,
having that pain that she could not deal with different way but doing self-harming. And so I went to the therapy. We went to the therapy as a family. I had multiple therapists until we found the one who is her therapist today, who is excellent person and who helps her tremendously. We looked into programs, starting with having her going to hospitals, but we decided not to do it. But we considered million options just to make sure that we help her in any way we could, or and our family, because at this point this affects everybody in the house. She's the one who suffers the most. We have to be able to talk and help everybody in the family. My husband, my son, me, her, everybody needs
mm.
to participate in this whole healing process.
And was it hard to find the support you needed?
It was hard because every time Maya was still a child, young child,
Mm,
when this all started. So she didn't know what she needs, even though she will tell you that no, this teenagers, it's not easy time to help them. She really didn't understand on the beginning who is the person who's going to help her, how this is going to work, and all that. So she kind of tried to reject a lot of people on the beginning when the hard moments came,
mm,
when the healing, but also accountability and all that stuff came to play. She started rejecting some people, therapists, and she was cutting. She didn't want to go to therapy. In a moment, she said, Mom, this is not the person. We tried a little bit longer, but then we tried to find someone else until she felt so comfortable with that it felt like this is the person who's going to help me. This is the person 100% for me here. And that happened not until like probably, I want to say 2 years ago.
mm.
So all this year from the fifth grade until 2 years ago, she had multiple therapists, doctors, because I was driving from New Haven to Boston Hospital
Yeah.
to looking for help to find her the best doctors, the best therapist to help her. I had a whole school board,
Mm.
invested in it. I was really trying to be on the top of everything to help this child deal with this problem she had.
Thank goodness she had a mom who recognized we have to get our own therapy and we have to separate ourselves. Like I drove around for a full, I think, year and a half with a little post-it that said, "That's not mine." And I did that because I needed to get out of the way of my kids' healing, had to tend to myself. But what's missing is we don't talk about this well as a society. There isn't a, you said it right from the beginning, there's not a guide to this. And it'd be great if we can figure out how do we give folks more information, more language, so that it doesn't have to take years and years to just get your kid baseline help. We talked to lots of therapists, and actually, we had great conversation with the amazing people at the Heron Project. That was one thing that they were observing, that as therapists, it's often a hard topic, but it shouldn't be. We have to develop more skill around how do we talk to folks about this? How do we meet them where they are and not continue to keep something in that shame place and guilt place. And we need to do that not only for the child or the person, but their family. Here you were incredibly motivated to do what you could to get your kid help. And I wonder, did you feel ashamed? Did people shame you or blame you? And was that something you had to navigate?
That's the biggest struggle I have until now.
Yeah.
I still struggle with this coming and growing up in Poland. There's a lot of stigma about stuff like that. Nobody,
Mm,
their mental health is still very not recognized as a top of health problems. Although I'm sure they're getting there, but it's still a lot of stigma about self-harming is like really like, what? No. And my parents didn't know until maybe a year ago.
mm,
My other family, nobody knows
mm,
about it. And we just recently visited Poland, and that was the biggest struggle for her because she felt like she needs to hide all the time. She needs to cover it up, and it was, I know, very hard. It's summer, and it's very hard. And now she's going to college, and on my mind is only people will see it, they will judge her,
mm,
everybody's going to stare, and it's huge stigma on that still, even though it's better.
mm.
And I know a lot of kids doing it, a lot kids. I'm
Lots.
on the portals on Facebook and other sites with the parents of teenagers who do self-harming.
Mm.
And I talk to people from England, Australia. It's
We do
everywhere.
too.
It's a
Yes.
magnitude we cannot imagine. Why this is happening this way, I don't know. I don't know. The social media has to do with it a lot. I think so, but that's my personal opinion. But it's just this pain they don't know how to deal with. And if they find out this is the way they did it, and now we have the effect of it, and you can go back. You cannot go back and what did I do? What
Mm.
I should have done not to prevent that? Although inside me somewhere it's still that little question, but I try to squish it and I try not to think about it because I would be miserable every day. But you have to move on. You have to think positive. She's the best example
Mm.
of positivity because she treats those scars as a battle scars and she's not embarrassed or ashamed of them. And I have times what I am, and she knows about it and she
Mm.
picks up on this right away. And I feel ashamed on me that I
Yeah.
am showing even slightly embarrassment about that or
Mm.
shame or
Mm.
concern even about it instead of looking on this beautiful young lady who overcome this horrible thing she was doing. She didn't overcome her disease. She still has a depression. She still deals with a lot of other things, and that's going to be with her for the rest of her life, and we
Mm.
can only manage this somehow, help her, support her, but she's going to struggle with this for the rest of her life, and she knows that and she's aware of that, but she's amazing. She
Mm.
she didn't finish high school because of that. She did her GED, which was for me was something hard to
Mhm.
understand because my daughter's not going to finish high school. How is it? No, it's impossible. But she did her GED on her own, everything. She passed with flying numbers. She got to the Charleston College,
Mm.
College of Charleston in South Carolina, which she's moving in a couple weeks. She's doing wonderful. Is she having hard times sometimes? Yes, I know she does. And I'm not the person maybe she will come and talk to,
Mhm.
and that's okay. But she has good support system if she needs to. I hope manage this and help her grow.
There is so much in what you have just said, incredibly vulnerable, which I think parents need to hear because we have to grow and we also have to forgive ourselves for not magically knowing what to do. It is not always easy. We hope at Spark Hope that we can start to help and mitigate that. And there are lots of good organizations that exist and are emerging. What I hear is the beginning of really foundational resilience in your child, but also in you. It's a long journey to that self forgiveness. As you sort of just alluded to, if we go too far into the past, it's just, again, opening up a damaging wound that we're bearing. Really, it's about where are we now? Where is our loved one now? What skills and strengths do they need for the journey ahead? Because it is really about the future. And how did you first hear about Spark Hope Scar Vision Project? What was your initial reaction when you learned that there might be support available, not just emotionally, but also physically for your daughter through Scar Vision?
I was so lost. I was looking everywhere for answers. I was looking on Facebook for parents groups to find out I'm not the only one. My kid is not the only one who does it. To understand, to not to be alone in it,
Mm,
and seeking advice in the situations like simple situation. My daughter is upstairs in her room for past 2 hours, locked. Do you walk in? Do you check on her? Do you stay there? Do you call her? Do you text
mm,
her? Do you call her therapist? What do you do? Is she doing this there? There's million questions, and you don't know what's the right thing to do. My husband doesn't know either what to do. Nobody knows. Her therapist, she has to be for her, not for me there. Like,
yes.
so there was million questions, and I was looking all different ways to see what other people who may experience same situations do in
Mm,
situations like that. And I found this group of parents of self-harming children on Facebook, and I felt like, oh my God, there's like a million of people there. And I posted, and there was a lot of people who gave you some advice, or people who just send you a little heart that
mm,
they go through this same way, or the little icon of smiley face that you care. And just that was like, oh my gosh, there are people who going through the same as we are. And there are people who are making positive comments like, my daughter is not doing this for a year now, and she's going to college. Or my daughter just recently ordered a prom dress, it's sleeveless. All those little positive comments make you feel a little bit more hopeful that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. In one of those posts, I posted about her scars
mm,
being extremely visible because they had some keloids forming. I was concerned about her, it was summer coming and all that stuff. And I thought maybe some people have some creams and all kinds of ideas,
mm,
remedies for that. I was contacted by, to be honest, I'm not sure what's the gentleman's name
mm,
now, but he DM'd me on the side and he said, there is a program, Spark Hope. I don't remember exactly how it was worded,
mm,
but maybe you would like to look into it and see if they may help you with finding a professional medical grade place where they can help you with those scars. So I reached out, and that's how they directed me to a place. Well, we were trying to find the closest place to me at that time that was helping with managing scars. Unfortunately, the closest one was in New Hampshire, which is almost 2 hours drive from us. I said, listen, what's 2 hours? Let's do it. Let's do it. And that's how we met Angela, and that's we met MD Cosmetics office, and that was just the beginning of the new chapter for Maya, trying to help appearance of the scars on her arm.
when we first made contact, we were very new in our organization. We're about 3 years old now. We felt so honored, but super determined that we were going to help your child. And at that point, we didn't have a lot of providers, but we knew that we had this really excellent provider. And I know Maya speaks so beautifully about feeling seen and heard. And maybe you can talk a little bit about, so once the process started, how did that feel for Maya? How did that feel for you as her mother?
So when I came there first time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's gonna see it. Everybody's gonna like think I'm the horrible mom who let this happen. But we came there, and they all were so professional, so non-judgmental. No, like, so what? This is a scar. It's same scar like when people get a hip replacement, or same scar as you got a dog bite, or it's nobody for a moment gave us a feeling that it's something different than just a scar.
Mm.
They took pictures. They were so nice and so professional. I cannot even like. We didn't know what to expect, how this is gonna work. We knew it's gonna be a laser therapy. We didn't know if it's gonna be super painful or not. But they explained it to us everything. They showed Maya everything, and we had the first treatment. It was not a spa treatment, but
That's an excellent way to say it.
Maya is tough cookie.
Yeah.
She is tough cookie. She was for it, like she's like, hey, let's do it, let's do it, let's just see. After that, we start going, I think once a month was in the beginning or every 2 months. I don't remember exactly, but we were driving to New Hampshire. Then they opened the office, I believe, in other town closer
Hmm.
to us. But Maya felt so comfortable going to New Hampshire because she found a little dog place there nearby where we always stop after a treatment, and we had our puppy play. Maya loves animals. She's a big advocate for animals, and
Mm.
that was always her soft and calm and healing place. So even though it was just a store with the dogs, they knew us there, and every time we stopped by after, we just played with all the dogs. We got our puppy fix, and then we went home. So even though we could drive closer for the treatments, Maya still keep going to New Hampshire, and every time they're doing pictures of after treatment or the progress. There's tremendous progress. The scars are healing. They're
Mm.
gonna be always there. They're gonna be always there. There's no possible way, surgery, no surgery, that they're gonna remove completely. But they much less. They healing well.
Mm.
There's no keloid scars. They really did awesome job, and still doing. Maya's still doing
Yeah.
process of it because she does has a lot of scars,
Yeah.
and we're very grateful for this opportunity. Just being able to be there and not being judged, not being looked at like some kind of people who did something wrong.
Yeah.
From the beginning was the most positive experience we had. And we're going to be forever eternal grateful to Spark for that.
Mm. I love the puppy story. That's another there's a great coping mechanism, right? To know
Yeah.
after you've had this that this procedure, which it makes the scars look worse before they look better, and to have that built into your experience is just
Yeah.
brilliant. But I wonder if you and I right now, as mothers who have felt all this sadness and shame and guilt, can give a little boost to a parent who might be listening to this. I wonder if we can alleviate that or lift people out of that. And what would you say?
I'm going to tell you first thing I had to understand for myself to be able to help Maya. It's not about us
Yes.
at all. It's not about our guilt. You
Mm.
feel guilt. It's not about our past. We have past that influence that. It's not about how we feel about it at all. It's all about your child. And that's the only way you can focus on healing. That's for me, of course, I'm speaking only what worked for
Yeah.
me. That's how you can focus completely to help your child heal or navigate some kind of a help and support plans. You have to detach your guilt. You have to detach your emotions. And you're going to have a moment. You're going to go cry in the closet, cry in the bed. You're going to think, what did you do wrong and all that. But you may not show it to your child because they will pick up like this and they will feel guilty that you feel guilty.
Yes.
and then they will, hide from you. They would not want to talk to you, or it's huge roller coaster. We fight, we being good friends, we being typical mother and daughter, but you never can have the same relationship before it happened. It can be better, I
Yes.
think, but it's not going to be the same relationship you had before with your child. That's my biggest thing. You have to detach your emotions. You have to stop showing your guilt, your embarrassment, your shame. If you have any, you have to bury it,
Mm,
because they will pick it up and you become like not a friend, because you're still a mother. They have to know that you're in their corner,
mm,
that you are the support they need if they need to. They may not ever come to you for support because they're teenagers for most part. If they are teenagers, they will look everywhere else but their parents. And if they want to go and cry in a room, it's okay.
mm.
Let them cry. Don't go and help right away. Let them cry. There's so many different things I learned through all these years that I was doing differently before it happened. But you have to help yourself. You have to have a therapy for yourself to be able to help your child,
Mm.
because it's so hard and they pick up on everything. They see everything. They just in huge pain that we would never understand. And everybody deal with their stuff differently, and that's how they deal with their pain. And you have to understand, you have to move on to the next chapter and direct them only if they ask you for it. You can't push what you think is the best for them. You can push on them. They have to find their own way to deal with it. You can kind of like give them hints here and there, but it's such a difficult process because that expression that you walk on eggshells around them.
Yes.
You do, and you do, and you many times you're afraid to discipline them after that. You're afraid to say something to make them upset
Hmm.
because you think that's they're gonna turn around and go do it again. But the right support system for them is the way to go. That was the way for us to go, looking until you find that right therapist. It's okay to change the therapist. It's okay to say, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. I have to find someone. It's
And
okay.
therapists know that. You're not hurting their feelings. It's not about the therapist. It's about what's
Right,
right for you or right for your kid. That's a great
right.
point.
But as a parent, you're thinking maybe, oh my gosh,
Mm.
why we cannot find the right person. You will find the right person. Just don't show your emotion to them, because I feel like this was my biggest thing. My sadness, my guilt.
Mm.
My She saw it in the beginning and she turned around. She was hiding from me because she didn't want to hurt me. She didn't
Yes.
want to. I didn't understand why she was doing. I blame myself, only myself for it. I mean, it's still a little part of me has guilt, and it's always gonna be there. I'm growing as much as she is. I'm growing, I'm learning a lot. It's been over 8 years now as we're dealing with it.
Mm.
And it's not over. And I don't think it's ever going to be over. But you can't think about it all the time. You
Yeah.
have to, leave it in the past and move on. Move on.
Yeah. But so many of the lessons you've learned, I had to learn as well. Knowing where you start and you end, and where your kid begins and where they end, and being able to step back and not add to their shame or their guilt is so central. Figuring out your own therapy, your own supports that you need. What it did for me is it opened me up to learning and being committed to growing for the rest of my life. And not only for to show up better for my kid, but just show up better in life. And as parents, a lot of this is not our fault, but we can make it worse. We can add to their distress, or we can make a decision to sort of take a deep breath and look within and look at our own support systems. When you get connected to your own good health and also to purpose. We have to have a purpose beyond our children. All of Spark Hope was inspired by my kids' journey, and I'm so grateful that I was there to connect a few dots. I didn't do anything other than kind of what you did, which is I'm going to learn as much as I can. I'm going to find whatever resources I can for my kid. And what I realized is one, there were good resources, they were just all over the place. So if we can start
Yes.
to help focus and give people hope, here's some information you can read, here are some people who you can reach out to that are really skilled. But then we also learned about this scar revision thing. I had no idea. And being able to connect that dot, it just kind of happened.
Yes.
How's your family doing now as a whole?
So as I mentioned, we're moving Maya to the college in a couple of weeks.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah. So it's scary because she's going far away.
Yes,
And my fears are very big now because it's 14 hours away, 2 hours plane.
yes.
How soon I can be there if she needs me. But you have to trust your child too, that she's going to communicate with you if she needs to. We're doing good. We're
Mm,
still working on our relationships. We're still going to therapy. Our radar is very open now for
mm-hmm.
everything around us, much more than it was before. And you have to just trust your child that they will communicate with you. But you also look and listen, 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 listen. Many times I have to bite my tongue,
Yes.
many
I hear
times,
you.
even though you want to say advice and no, it's okay. Let them figure out, let them do not the right things to find out. I mean, of course, to some extent, they safe, of course, but
Mm,
they have to find out on their own what works for them. Right now, I'm making a little care package for her to open when she's in college and making little
nice.
letters to her, how proud we are for her, like how wonderful she is, and for the moments when she's going to be sad because she'll be homesick, and it's going to tear me inside not to be able to be there and talk to her, even though she may not want me to even, but in my mom's mind, you want to
Mm-hmm.
be there for her any moment she needs it. So I'm making those little letters for her to let her know that we're still here and we will be there if she really needs us in next 2 hours. I trust that she will try to deal with all the problems she has because she will have problems. She will, it's school, it's college, it's friends, it's academics, it's after school stuff. There's stress. That was our biggest problem. Will she be able to deal with all this stress now? That she has a coping mechanism, and the therapy with gentleman she has now for past 2 years. That's what he works with her. A coping mechanism when the sadness, the stress, the heartbreak, or whatever it is comes. Does she know how to deal with it? Because that was my biggest fear as a parent. I'm not there. I'm not going to be there all the time. Does she know how to deal with this now, not to turn into the self-harming? She's free of self-harming for the past 3 years.
Great.
We are extremely grateful and happy for that. Yeah, so she's doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good.
It's so amazing listening to you, and I hear all that work around codependency. You are committed to this kid's journey to adulthood because it's very, very hard for us to, let them go and really become adults. Another question I want to ask before we come to the end of our time is these false notions that people have around self-injury. And I think a big part of what we hope to do is to debunk some of these false ideas people have about self-injury and about the people who love and caretake people who have self-injury. So can you speak to that a little bit?
My understanding how people portray self-harming is mostly attention seeking. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people think that's what it is. I'm going to tell you something which breaks my heart.
Mm.
Before I did not understand, did not listen to my child. We were driving once in a car. She was about maybe 12, 13 years old. It
Mm.
was just before I found out she was self-harming. And she says, Mom, what would you say if I would tell you I'm self-harming? And I brushed her off. I said, that's so silly. Don't watch those movies. You watching too much TikTok. In million years, I would never ever think that my child may be struggling with the idea that she has so much pain that she doesn't know how to deal with it, but just this way. You gotta pay attention. You gotta listen to your child and do not dismiss or brush it off. I thought maybe stuff like that only in the movies, TikToks. Like, there's no way. This is typical teenager behavior, doing something like that to yourself, you know? Like, that's how I would think back then.
Mm.
And I had a friend in Poland who wasn't friend, was a classmate who done this. It was 40 years ago. And
Right.
and the people what they were talking about this person, this boy, and how they were calling him and what they were thinking about, it was it was like, yeah, well, that's crazy that he's doing it. It's like,
Mm.
seriously? Nobody even for a moment think what he's going through or what his story is. And now it's different. My radar is on when I'm in a place where we don't know people and my scars are visible and I'm
Mm.
scanning the people. All I do is scanning the people. How they gonna look at her? Do they judge her? Do they? It is Mama's radar, you know? And she's not hiding. She's very very aware that they are there, but they are part of me. If you want to look at them, look at them. But if you want to look at me, look at my eyes and my face and see what I'm saying, what I feel, that's even better. You know,
Mm.
do not dismiss ever any little remarks from your child that something is wrong like that. I go back to that moment all the time and why
Mm.
I did not talk to her more about it, why I dismissed that so easily. I always afraid that they see the scars. No, a lot of people right now see them
Mm.
and maybe they do judge. Maybe they do think stuff.
Mm.
So what? That's their problem. That's not my problem. That's not my daughter's problem that you don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
That's not our problem. But I still find myself to do that, to watch people, what they would say, what they see, how they look at her. Would they say something? Would they judge? Like with a new friends in college who she met already, and I'm
Mm.
asking questions. Maya, did they say anything? Did they? No, no.
Mm.
I think it's more me now, like being afraid that they're gonna may judge her for that, but it's not that horrible anymore. I think at least around here, because
Mm.
a lot of places like Europe or people still judge, and there is still big stigma about it.
There's so much work to be done. We have vulnerable mom hearts. We're always going to worry for our kids, but yes, we should have listened. It would have been awesome if we could go back in time and that car ride could have been the moment that maybe you could have intervened. But honestly, that's just not how it works. And all we can do is live forward and that's maybe the wounds we have to work on.
I know, but I just mention it because we're talking about it and how I felt about that
Yes.
topic at that time that I wasn't aware, even I was not understanding. I think the biggest thing now is also that it's so out there
Yep.
thanks to organizations like yours.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of now sharing on Facebook every post you make, even though
Ugh.
it's open to people. And
Yeah.
they all know now that my child is self-harming. So what?
Yeah.
I want you to know. I want you to know that they don't do it for attention. I want you to know that why they doing it. I want you to know that they do it because they have such a pain inside that they don't know how to deal with it. And this is how they
Mm.
and people need to know that this is not sitting in a closet and doing this because my mom will buy me an ice cream after, or my mom will buy
Yes.
me some cool clothes if I do it and show her that I did it. No, it's such a deep mental condition
Mm,
that has roots to many other things, that it's not that simple. And it's you have to understand that the children who, or whoever does it, they just don't know how to deal with this pain. It's a complicated subject, and it's
mm,
not, you cannot describe in one word why they doing it, but at least little bit showing people by your post, even like I'm
mm,
reading them and my heart is like start palpitating, almost like,
mhm,
yes, yes, this is why, this is, yes, let them, everybody knows, because I don't know anybody else whose child done this. I don't,
mm.
but I may do.
You probably do. The chances
And
are,
I don't,
statistically,
right,
right?
right.
We don't
So
share.
yes, because it's such a taboo, and such a hard subject to speak. Me not even talking to you right now, I'm like kind of on, am I saying too much about it? Will people judge me maybe about it? Maybe. But then I'm thinking, okay, I'm here for it. You judge me and
Mm,
you can tell me whatever, and I will not care, because the most important thing for me right now is that people know that my child suffered through a lot.
mm,
She deals with some very, very serious mental diseases.
mm,
A major depressive disorder is horrible, because it's not
mm,
something you can completely eradicate.
mm.
It's going to be always there. You have to just navigate them through the right paths to heal it, to treat it, and it's going to be okay.
You are role modeling such bravery and growth, but your story, I mean, you shared it so beautifully at the beginning of the anger and the shock and the feeling inadequate, and also knowing that you had to learn a new way to show up for your kid, all the way to this point where you're saying, and so I'm going to share. All we can do is learn and live forward. And I think that the bravery of your beautiful, hard story is how we start to get the word out, but also to debunk a lot of these belief structures around self-injury that just really make no sense. I can't thank you enough for sharing what is hard and confusing, but you spoke of it really beautifully. I wonder, before we wrap up, what would you say to a parent who's just now learning about Spark Hope? What would you like somebody to know about Spark Hope?
For the parents who struggle, because there's so much unknown when you first find out your child may have self-injured. There are people who don't care about anything else but helping you.
Mm,
And those people are in Spark. They don't care where you're from, what you're going through. The all only agenda is to help you. That was my biggest struggle in the beginning. Where do I go with this? Okay, therapist, but this therapist in the little town, is it enough? Do I have to look for when they go away for, let's say, 60 days or something to
mhm,
the places? Is the right thing for, because that was on our radar to do I do this? So talking to a person who has idea
mhm,
what to do next, that
mhm.
was the number one. Like, not maybe this, maybe, like, you're going and you're gonna call this place, you're gonna
Yes.
do this for the parents. That's all for the parents.
Mhm,
This is what you do. This is who you contact. This is what how you approach this. This is 100% so important. It was important for me. I didn't have that tool at that moment, so that's why I struggled so much to
mm,
finding the right place for her to fall in. We had a therapist, but she liked it. She didn't like it. So like just that little guide for a parent to know where to go from there.
mhm.
Because I also read some comments from the parents like, who do I call? Where do I go? Do I go to this place, or do I go my physician, or do I call my pediatrician? Do I call a psychiatrist? You don't know what to do that moment. Do I go to emergency room? Do I go to psychiatric hospital? Like million ideas, and the parent if they never had to deal with stuff like that, they don't know what to do, where to reach out, where to go. I spend hours online to looking, but online you have sources that you have to sign up, you have to pay money to get in. Like you don't know what's legit, what's not. I think that's what your goal is, to be that place that the parents with those children or teenager or whoever,
Mm.
adult people can go in and find a guide. That's my golden nugget for the parents, I guess. For the kids, if they so lost at that moment and they would not go to their parents, they will not go to the parents. I was lucky. I was lucky that Maya wanted to go to the therapist at that
Mm.
time. She said, Mom, I need to go to the therapist. I need to go. But there are kids who will go upstairs or to their room and they lock themselves for days and they will not talk. They will not know what to do. Because of the social media, because of the media and internet right now being 100% on the top of everything else, if they searching or whatever, where do I go if I do this? I need help. That it doesn't pop up, call 911 or call
Hmm.
to the nearest, nothing like that, because they will not ever call 911. They
No.
will not, that they can automatically be connected to somebody, hopefully, and just them being able to tell them, listen, we can help you if you want help, if you, go talk to here or whatever the need may be. I don't know exactly, each person is different, but that they have this tool to reach out to you guys
Mm.
and you be able to right away jump in and navigate them to
Mm.
non-judgmental
Mm.
help for everybody who may struggle with this. I don't know if my Maya ever, she was lucky enough to be in therapy already and
Mm.
talk to her therapist about it. But there are kids who doing it and don't have therapy. They would not go to school counselor. They will not, they may talk to their friends.
Hmm.
Friends is the biggest part of this whole thing too. Allow your kids to have friends. I mean, you have to be on lookout what kind of friends, because they can be also part of why you're doing a lot of things.
Yep.
But friends are such an important part of a teenager's life.
I cannot say that we are magically going to make this problem go away, but we are going to work relentlessly to get to the prevention of it. And that's through education, and that's giving people better language and knowing how to just, you don't have to say much, but just enough to kind of let a person know that you're there, that you're present, that you are an ally, and that you don't magically know how to make it all better. So we want to get that language out there. We will create a guide. Everybody is a different human and they need different resources, but to just have some place to begin. There's a great book called Healing Self-Injury.
I read that.
Yes. And there's a podcast called The Psychology of Self-Injury. That's super
Yes.
helpful. And
Yeah.
that great book by Jonathan Haidt called Anxious Generation. What we intend to do is to create a thing that you can just cling to immediately and know that you've landed with people who love you. They don't know you, but they're already loving you because they've
Right.
been through this journey and they're interested in helping the next person or the next parent who is suffering and struggling. I believe we can do this better. And I think
The
that,
only thing I want, I'm sorry, I don't
no, go.
interrupt you, but just don't want to forget the thought. But you saying that you went through this
Mm.
means like I can talk to you, like you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like the same when I went on that Facebook page with the parents who going through this.
Hmm.
That's the helping point for me. Also, on when you have listed on your post self-injury, seeing this word, they know what they're talking about, because it's not like, oh, mental health, because it's such a broad, you
Hmm.
can really focus on that particular subject, and that makes me more reach out to you
Yep.
because I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Spark got my attention because I saw your posts and were like, wow, they very direct, the concept is to focus on this subject, not only depression, anxiety,
Hmm.
therapy, a million things which is involved with, but just that particular word
Yeah.
made me like think like I'm in right place.
Yeah. No, we have become inadvertent experts. Like we would go places and talk to people, and they're like, well, you're the experts. And I would wince. We're very focused on this topic and we want to create resources and we're committed to it. It's partly why this year is we have the unsexy task of fundraising because we've been volunteering 3 years full time at this. We're going to do everything we can to get the word out, to be a good resource, to be responsible. I feel very hopeful after talking with you and just your bravery, but also your very real story. And I do think it is more of us sharing what we've been through. I think a lot about that next kid and that next parent. So thank you for sharing your story and thank you for your bravery. I hope that is inspiring to the people who get to hear this conversation. Together, maybe we've sparked a little hope today.
I'm sure you did. Nice talking to you. Thank you.